to a show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Mats podcast. And it's me, it's Dante. And my guest this week. So, some of y'all may have noticed I've been kind of recording with my teammates and coaches over there at Crazy 88 MMA. This was no different. We're going to do that again. So, for this episode, I want to welcome to the show Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. Badass. And talking pre-show and having a good time. Pretty fucking funny guy. Mr. Chris Tran. Welcome to the show, Chris. How you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for having me.
Thanks
I need
for
to have
doing
you
this.
around more often if you're going to hype me up like that.
Dude, like, that's always the weakest part of the show for me. Is like, shit, like, I got to introduce the people. I didn't even fucking, I got all the other notes except for the intro notes.
Oh, man, you got to have those Bruce Buffer cards so that you have, like, each of the titles, you got each of the accolades, everything.
If I get Bruce Buffer cards, I want the Bruce Buffer blazers. Just come in these sharp-ass shoots.
Well, that's on you. You can definitely bring that to the set, and, like, everyone's going to feel a little bit lower than you. But that would definitely bring some class to this podcast.
That's kind of whole, like, ideal of the show. Like, just come sit down. Like, sit down, peons. Look at my flashy suit. But no, thank you for coming out and doing this. Like, that was kind of the thing to me is, like, when I asked you to be on, I was like, you know, how do you want to do this? Do you want to do remote? You want me to come to you? You want to come here? You're like, I'll come to you. I was like, perfect. Because I don't have to, like, disassemble, and then we can just sit down and jump right into it. Whereas, you know, we do it remote. It's fine. It's just, it might sound weird. Like, the audio gets goofy. But here you are, and you know, glad to have you. So, as we talked before, super conversational. I got some questions. I got some jiu-jitsu questions. I just want to know your story.
Sounds good. Origin story.
Yes, this is like comic. I think of everyone's episode like a comic book. Like, so when was their first appearance? Like, they first appeared on episode like 206. Like, oh, okay, all right. And then you have another episode later on where it's like, oh no, like this is the origin episode. Like, we got them appeared once, and now we're gonna find out the dark secret. They went to the theater, and he had to leave early, and his parents were like, "Let's go," and then he got shot. And then he became Batman. Fucking weird. But I guess the first thing I always ask everyone, especially in the jiu-jitsu community, is like, why jiu-jitsu?
Why jiu-jitsu? So, honestly, it was my brother-in-law who got basically my entire family into it. I think like little inception, but like, I think his origin story was that he saw like the UFC, and then he saw the early ones, and obviously like with Royce Gracie being smaller than a lot of his opponents and still being able to beat them up. For anyone that can't see us, me and my brother-in-law are very, very tiny people. So to have someone like Royce Gracie who is smaller than all these people and can beat up bigger people, that's an awesome little concept for us. Like, it's definitely transferable if we train and all sorts of that. So he ended up finding Crazy 88, I think back in 2007. And he eventually got super obsessed with it. He got my sister into it, and then eventually they brought me into it.
Of course, that's always like, hey, come try this thing that we're doing. What is it? Here, let me see your wrist. It's called a wrist lock.
So yeah, at the time, I went from like doing Tae Kwon Do and stuff with my dad until I was like 12 years old, and then I started just kind of fell out of love with it, and I was becoming a teenager. That was probably part of like teenage rebellion and whatnot.
Of course.
And then I also was like getting shown all this UFC stuff from Dave, and I was like, oh, that's super cool. And so obviously, like every knucklehead teenager and or young gun, I was like, I should probably try to do that. And so I started like trying to figure out what like the plan was, and I don't know how this, you know, I was a knucklehead at the time. Obviously, this was a well thought out plan, but I was like, I should start judo. So somehow my mom found online uh, Sensei Edwin Takamori, who was teaching judo at the Naval Academy, as well as like a rec center somewhere in Montgomery County. And I think he literally lived like a mile away from our house. And so like we went to talk with him, and I got started in judo at the Naval Academy. That was pretty cool. My dad used to drive me to the Naval Academy to the base and like actually start learning judo. And like it was a small club, but we still had a couple people rolling through, and I still did judo for a little bit. But anyway, so at the time, my sister had just started jiu-jitsu. I had started judo, and she was like, hey, you know, they're pretty hand in hand. Like, honestly, you should come through and try it out because, you know, I know we don't do necessarily as much stand-up, but still, the groundwork is part of judo. So this is only going to help your groundwork. You're just basically getting an additional training, and there's not going to be any harm in that. And I was like, you make a lot of sense, big sister.
So you're out there just collecting martial arts, like infinity stones, basically. It was like, all right, we got Tae Kwon Do. Let's do some judo. Let's grab some jiu-jitsu. Is there anything else? Well, there's 6 stones.
It's like, all right, let's keep at it. Let's see what we got.
All right, good. And when you went into jiu-jitsu, like, what were your like first impressions of that just in itself? Because, you know, already having, you know, again, taekwondo in your pocket and doing some judo, it's like, okay, you know, you would think like, oh, it can't be that much more different in terms of like just kind of coming out and doing something already. But, you know, what was your, you know, first impression just going out there into the classes and really acclimating?
Man, honestly, so I guess this makes me sound old, but it's so long ago that I don't even quite remember my first impressions. I do remember, I think, my first class and the impressions of that first class, where I'm like a tiny, scrawny teenager, and I'm walking in. And at the time, Crazy 88 had like no teens classes, but they had tiny kids classes. I think like 8 and under or something. And I was 13, so I'm definitely not fitting there. So I'm just jumping right into the adult class. So I'm walking into a class with a group of like large men who I don't know. And the goal eventually is to start like taking each other down, strangling each other, and trying to break each other's joints. And I'm like, all right, this is a little intense.
Like you look at him, it's like, all right.
I'm like, I gotta fight that guy.
Like that doesn't seem feasible, but I'm here. You know, I signed a waiver. Let's go.
But yeah, it was, I mean, I definitely had a lot of fun because I stuck around with it. I think it was a little bit of a weird shock to me, actually, that I came in with all these like huge, intimidating guys. But then as soon as like you start talking to any of them, they're like some of the most friendly, personable like people that you could ever talk to. And you're like, what are you doing? Is this a trick?
I actually brought that up to my wife yesterday because we were talking about just people's impressions of not just like jiu-jitsu, but like martial artists, MMA. Her friend has made comments about jiu-jitsu in the past. And it's like, oh, those guys just all they want to do is fight people. I was like, what? Like,
It's only half of it.
It's like, I want to fight my friends. Like, I don't want to fight just random people. I want to go fight people I trust. And like, I know if they get, you know, an arm bar, they'll let go. Like some random stranger on the street get an arm bar, I'm thinking, I bit off more than I could chew. Like, why has he got me an arm bar? But, you know, one of the things that we're talking about with that was that, you know, that impression is way off. It's like if she sat down and talked with any of us at any point, I mean, she talked with me, but I think from her perspective, it's like, well, I've known you like a very long time. So, you know, you're you. And it's like, yeah, but if you talk to any of my teammates, like some of these folks are just so, not just some, like all of them are like just, you know, sweethearts. It's like, you know, they're going to look out for you. They're going to help you. You know, your old lady crossing the street, some of them might help you. Like, I know a few that won't. Just like, like she'd be all right. She got to learn on her own. So as far as like your life away from the mat, like how does like, you know, your training and the mindset from training martial arts kind of carry over into your everyday life?
So I think honestly that's kind of been more reflective for the past couple years. with my jiu-jitsu and with my life, I've just been trying to be like very, very consistent about things. Jiu-jitsu right now for me it's, I don't want to say routine, but it is routine for me in the sense that like, oh, it's just something that I do like almost every day. It's just something, it's like, it's literally, I think, the same thing to me as like brushing your teeth in the morning. You're like, oh, it's just something you do. You know, I go to practice at night. And that's one of the things too. Like, okay, I do my strength conditioning 3 days a week. I do my running 2 or 3 days a week if I can get it. So it's like routine because I want that to be like a nice little part of my schedule. And that way it's regular. I'm not stressed about like, oh man, I got to go to jiu-jitsu because like I have this tournament coming up. It's like, no, I was already going. We just might have to turn up the intensity a little bit, but I was already doing this. Like, this is the same thing. We're just going to keep doing our thing until the tournament rolls up. And
what is it? Donahue and Gordon Ryan, all those folks, they train 7 days a week, no days off. Like
I might need a little adjustment on that, but I still get in. I usually get in 6 days a week. I mix in like my strength conditioning and my running and then 7 days, a little bit of a stretch. Even if I'm doing like the 7 days, it's not the same intensity as like a hard class in like the middle of the week when we're like mostly sparring or something. It might be something a little bit more loose, like, okay, we're drilling like this specific sequence, or like, all right, let me break down like what's going on here, and then we can try to figure it out, and then we can like drill through this lightly to make sure that we kind of have all the like mechanics of everything down.
That makes sense. Like when I think about, I don't even know what they're called anymore. Like I don't know what their group team is called anymore. I think, you know, Craig Jones and them are the B squad,
Oh,
the B team.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember what Donahue's group is called now, but whatever it is. I think about that though when they talk about training 7 days per week. It's like, you mean like intense jiu-jitsu per week, 7 days per week? Or are you talking about like, you know, you might do jiu-jitsu 5 days and then you might do some strength training or some cardio some other days? It's like I need details, and you know, I'm sure a quick Google search would give me that answer, but you know, maybe not, because Google be kind of, you know, Google don't be trying to give you nothing. They be giving you sponsored answers at the top.
Yeah. I mean, it depends, I guess, per team, per athlete and everything. Depends what your body can sustain by itself or not by itself. But, you know, it depends. You know, there's some people that can definitely handle like a very, very heavy workload. There's other people that actually might do better with like a lighter workload, but like in the times that they're coming into the gym, getting their work in, they're putting that work in.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's like, yeah, if you're doing it all the time, you got to dial it back a little bit, I would imagine. You can't just be go, 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 go.
No, it's not everyday Pohada.
Like, to some people it is. Some people are like, grrr. It's like, yo, chill, son. Like, I'm 46 and I'm a hobbyist. Like, I'm just here to get my reps in. It's like, I'm here to kill. Like, I'm going to go ahead and take up a new hobby, maybe chess. In your opinion, what are some of the key like fundamentals that every grappler should focus on, regardless of rank?
Oof, nice general question.
You can see me over here reading,
taking notes, trying to make me sound like a philosopher. Let's go with off top of my head. I can think of generally. I want something. I want a takedown. I want something from guard and something from the top. Obviously, I want to be able to have something to go to from my good and my bad positions right away, because you want to be able to survive in a bad position. And then if you get to a good spot, you want to be able to call it a day and head on out. So that's the thing. Not that that's specific in any way whatsoever, but general outline of like what I want to try to get someone to do to like get from 0 to, I don't know, maybe like the first 10 steps, because at least that gives you a general idea of what you want to do. You're like, oh, I'm missing something from bottom of side control. Okay, I need to like actually work on my escapes from there, even if it's one thing.
I'm gonna take notes on that because like that, I'll see something like that. Watching everybody compete at Naga last week. I was like, oh my god, like you kind of could see those steps there that you just described. I was like, oh my god, like take notes. And then I trained, this week, and I was like, none of those steps were there. I was like, I need to survive. Like and then when I get to the top position, I was just like, what do I do from here? Like, oh shit, just what, I'm heavy. Just make them carry me.
Oh, that's an awkward little moment. You're like, I'm in the best spot. Oh crap, what do I do?
I think I had to resort to wrestling, like submit mixers yesterday. I was just like, you know what? Like, oh, you turtled up? Guess what you eating today?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
And then once I got him down to side control, I was just like, I don't even, like, man, you just carry me. That's just for turtling up. Now you just gonna have to live with this weight on you, buddy. Like, I'm up to 207. But yeah, I totally get that. And like I said, I'm taking notes. Like, this part of the podcast is just me asking questions to, like, it's like, okay, I'm gonna take notes on this, take notes on that, but come back a whole new grappler. How do you maintain a balance between injury prevention, training intensity, and just kind of keeping yourself, mat ready?
Oh God! All right. Hope. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. So for me, I don't know how I'm very blessed. I think with the sense that I generally don't get injured. I generally don't do that much maintenance to like prevent injuries or anything. I would say that I'm very, very aware and very careful of what types of movements I'm doing, what positions are what, and when anything can be like a potentially dangerous thing. I know that there's some people that might be like, listen, my arm's not going to feel right, but I think I could get out of this. Whereas I'd be like, no, my arm's, it's not right. This is not going to get better. So I think I'm generally aware of that. And then also I have a pretty decent like range of motion with like all my limbs. So, even if I get squished a little bit here and there, I'm not getting as injured as like a Masters 5 guy who's like getting stacked on his neck.
Yeah. I ended up, what was it? Was it 2 weeks ago? We were at Open Mat on Sunday, and Epps, they're all just talking about flexibility. And they're like, Dante, we got to get you moving like an old guy. And I was like, dude, I do move like an old guy. Did you just hear everything crack? And it was like, I was like, lay on the mat and like, how far can you kick your legs back? I kicked my legs up and they just kind of stopped halfway. I was like, ugh. Like, yep. Guess I'm not going to be inverting or getting stacked today. Like, I can invert when necessary. Like if we're in a roll, it's just going to happen because I'm not thinking about it. But if we're drilling, they're like, okay, we're going to, kiss of the dragon. Kiss of the who? Nah, I'm doing that. I want to do that. It's like, oh, hey, you can do it. I'm like, like, but if we're in the middle of a roll, it just happens. And I'm like, and then you'll hear Mahoney like, it's weird because I didn't take you for like an invert guy. And it was like, neither did I. Trust me. Like, it probably won't happen again. But if it does, get it on video. Like, get the camcorders out. Like, how old are you?
How old do you think I am? That's the question.
See, black people and Asians, like, it's tricky because I could say, I mean, you're every bit of 28. And he's like, dude, I'm 42. And he's like, fuck. Like, I don't know. If I had to take a general guess. Okay, so you started
You can't cut this from the podcast.
It will not get cut.
They're going to hear my emotions in your response. Let me hear.
So you started at 13. You're black belt now. So I'm going to go with 28. What, about 26 to 28.
Is this the final answer?
That's my final answer.
Oh, fuck. You're right on point.
Fucking right, doggy.
Yeah, I'm 28.
See, I'm the smartest person alive. I know everything except for no things. That works. I'm gonna just start saying
that was beautiful. I think you're the only person literally that has ever gotten it like exactly on point.
Math. Because as soon as you said you were doing it,
I gave you hints. Oh, that's cheating.
See? Well, because also I'm thinking, it's like, okay, he's a black belt, started at 13. Okay, let's see here. It's got to be in that range of 26 or 28. It's like, in essence, to say, for me, I'm a blue belt. for me to say, oh, I'm a black belt, like in fucking 27 years, it's like, oh, so you've only been training for 7 years? Like, the fuck out of here. Like, no. When I went up and trained in Virginia, I remember signing a waiver. And the guy goes, as I'm filling everything out on the tablet, he goes, so how long you been training? I was like, I think at that point, I think it was like 6 years, 5 or 6 years. He was like, oh, so you're a brown belt? I was like, oh, no, I'm a blue belt. Man. And there was this like look of disappointment in his face. I was just like, I'm about to come here and trash all your blue belts now. And I did for the most part until I went to Nogi. Then they just took my lunch money. Like I had nothing to offer. They're just tossing me around, like pass me to the next guy. I was like, oh man, like that's all right. Like one day. But yeah, like I figure again, you start at 13 with jiu-jitsu's like, yeah, give it about. I'm also kind of taking pointers from Vanessa's answer as well a few weeks back. So it's like there are hints.
Points over here.
There are hints. Like I'm observant. It may not seem like it, but I observe things.
Yeah, you got your notes.
Yeah, I mean they're not good notes, but sometimes my notes are like these color coded questions here. Roll them up at about let's say like 11:20. So when did you get here? Like 11:40, 20 minutes before. So trust me, I'm a note taker.
You turned it in before the deadline, though. That's a pass.
That's the whole point. That is always my goal. Make sure you get it done before it's actually due. Doesn't have to be right. It just has to be done.
Listen, if you turned it in at 11:58 and it says 11:59 is the due date, you were right on time.
Yeah. Again, answers may not have been right, but the assignment was turned in, and you didn't say it had to be right. You said it has to be turned in. That's how I got through school, if you want to call it that. How do you think jiu-jitsu has evolved over the years, and as far as like moving forward, like where do you see it going?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
you definitely making these questions make me feel old. You're like, what was it like in your age? And I'm like, I'm not even that old, but okay.
Hey, back in the 1900s, like how was it?
So yeah, I mean, honestly, when I first started, I think the hot new craze when I started was like the Homolo Bahal like spider guard, and then it was even Bernardo Fria's deep half, and people were like, oh my God, these are going to be like unstoppable. But with any sport, or I guess in this case like martial art, but anything like that, there's going to be adaptations. There's going to be things to cancel out. People aren't just going to give up and say, yeah, that is the end of it.
We don't need to know anything else.
It seems like there's been kind of a weird little wave where like it went for a little bit to kind of try and entangle people up. Like there was lasso, there was lapel lasso, there was worm guard, reverse worm guard. Whatever worm variation out there in the world. And then as like the next generation came up, they were like, all these entanglements are bullshit. I don't want to deal with them. But so the next generation was, cool, we're disentangling everything, and then we're going to start working our way through. And I think we still kind of might be in that era where like everyone now is pretty good at disentangling. And it seems right now there's a lot of movement trying to add in more and more transitions because everyone's getting better. Like you can't just hit someone with a 1 and be like, that's it. It's going to be, hey, we're going to hit him with this 1, but it's because we know it's going to open up the 2. And because we know that the 2's there, they're going to defend that. Then we got to hit them with a 3. So this 1 is to set up our 3. It's longer and longer, like chains of attack, chains of movement and series. So yeah, it's basically going to be a lot more movement and hustle for people.
Yeah. I like when you brought up the deep half, I remember when I started, I guess it was kind of on the tail end of it because that was what we were always training, not always training, but like we would definitely go to deep half quite a bit over at Ivy League. And it was just like, okay, cool, deep half. This is where we're at. Like we're learning this. And Mark still goes deep half sometimes. It's a little obnoxious. It's like, come on, dude, like knock it off. I got a groin injury, but you don't see a lot of people go to it anymore. It's like,
yeah.
I went to it yesterday just because I knew the guy I was rolling with was like, you've never seen this. So I'm just going to go here and get a waiter sweep real quick and then sit inside control. You've got another minute. You got to deal with this weight. But like, as you know, the game changes, or not even just change, but sometimes it kind of devolves, you know, like you said, there's all this entanglement and they're like, let's just get out of all of that. It's kind of a de-evolution in some sense.
I don't know if I would describe it as de-evolution. I think all of it is progressive because when everyone's like building on this, like when people like this generation is learning to disentangle everything, they're not necessarily getting rid of like all these entanglements. They're not saying, okay, we don't do any of this anymore. It's actually probably going to end up being more like, oh, like the first series of entanglements that we did, these don't work anymore. We have to add in new ways to entangle. We have to do better entanglements in order to really, really tie these guys up. And then it'll be the next generation saying, okay, they added this to really entangle me. Like right now, one of the things that I also see a lot is basically, in the gi at least, basically adding a lapel to any guard, because that is another layer of entanglement and that is another layer of annoyance that you absolutely must deal with if you are going to make any sort of progress. You know, it seems like that's like an oversimplification of it. Like, you know, add a lapel to it, it'll be good. But it is literally another layer that you can say, oh crap, before I had to deal with like this regular guard, but now I have to get out of this lapel and then deal with this regular guard. But he can always try to spam and go back to that lapel. And guess what? I start from square one, or I'm now in a different lapel entanglement.
Yeah, the lapels. Anytime I'm rolling with any purple, brown, even, you know, a lot of blue belts, and I see the lapels coming out, I'm just like, fuck. Like, I don't want to have to deal with this. I end up just grabbing their wrist and like, stop.
Well,
like,
yeah. So that though, like, you might not believe it, but that is you being part of like a next generation of learning too. Because back in the day when everyone's first seeing all this stuff, everyone's like amazed by the wizardry. Like, oh my God, he's wrapping my own lapel around his leg, tying a double knot, and then there's a butterfly knot, and then they're just watching it. But at least you have like the first conscious step of, I don't like him grabbing my lapel, but if I grab his wrist, that might stop him from making the next grip transfer, which thereby stops like, or at least puts a pause in the sequence. So that's like the progress that we do. It's not necessarily going to be like you grab his wrist, so now he never does again. It's more like, oh, okay, now that Dante grabbed my wrist, what do we do next? Because I'm not just going to sit here. I'm still going to try and entangle him and annoy him.
So what I took from that is that I'm the future. Perfect.
I mean, essentially, yeah. You keep going, you keep grabbing wrists.
I will let Keith know this next time I speak with him. Like, I'll introduce myself to him again. Let me reintroduce myself, Keith. I'm the future. Pleased to meet you.
With the right branding, anything is possible.
That's true. And until they're like, you know what? Sit down, kid. Actually called me a baby the other day. Like, I'm a year younger than him. Like, relax, dude. Like, chill. He's going to hear this and be like, fuck that podcast. I'm not doing this. I'm like, please. Like, I think, like, you actually, like, does he want you to ask just to be on the podcast or just so he could reject it? And now I'm starting to wonder. Now I'm wondering, like, I still never got a, like, solid answer. So I think he just wants to reject my.
Just elusive.
Like, yeah, he's a busy guy.
Oh, he's very busy.
I mean, that was kind of the initial talk. It was like, hey, when are you free? It was like, and he laughed. I was like, all right. So, let me rephrase that question. like, when can you make time?
When are you free enough?
Yeah. Like, but it's fine. It's fine. You know what?
We'll get to him. It'll be a legendary episode.
The show is going to continue, and once we get him, we got him, and then he's going to come back for more.
100%.
And then he would know I am the future. Okay? So you're a black belt. So we're gonna take out you getting your black belt from this equation. Because every time I ask this question to anyone that's a black belt, it's like, well, it's getting my black belt. What's your most memorable moment in your grappling journey? Or martial arts journey?
Oof. So I think honestly, I don't know if it's like one of my best or anything, but probably like one of my favorite moments was the 2019 Nogi Worlds. I had I think I had taken like a break from competing a year before. 2019, I kind of jumped back into competing. I had literally lost first round at the 2018 Nogi Worlds. So 2019 Nogi Worlds, I was like, all right, whatever. We're going in. We're gonna give it our best, like efforts, and we'll see how everything goes. I ended up winning, which was nice and everything, but I won, Vanessa won, Oscar won, Big Al won. I believe he double golded, and we had like a whole big squad that went, and Ty was coaching us there. If you know Ty is he's a lot of energy in the room,
intense.
Yeah, so just that fact that like all of us won, all of us were there. It was just a really, really, really good time. Obviously, after we all won, we were like super hype, so that was really good. But yeah, I think that was also kind of like I competed for a long time. I have some titles. I have relatively good results, I think. But this was kind of one of my first bigger gold medal results, and I was like, obviously pretty hyped. Like I went to the tournament going, this is my kind of first year coming back into competition. Let's just give it our best efforts. Let's see how we do with this. And then I managed to like pull through, get a gold, and manage to celebrate like with all my teammates too. That feeling was just super, super cool, and definitely one that I'm never going to forget. Especially when like, unfortunately, I guess a little bit, the arena's a little empty, so you can hear like who's cheering for you, and you can tell where they are. So I got to like, I look at the scoreboard. I was like, oh shit, I won. I'm like, oh shit, I won. I look up, I can tell exactly like where all my teammates are, so I get to like point them out and be like, oh, this is fucking awesome. You guys are out there cheering for me. And then like, I don't even remember when Vanessa won. But like I said, we all won, and it was just, the energy was so high. Morale is obviously really, really great too. And we managed to have a good time after.
I think I remember seeing that because I lurk through social media. And I remember seeing it because I remember Vanessa posting something about it, then posting you won, she won, and I kind of going down the list. And I was like, God damn, they cleaning up. They went out there and just like,
oh yeah, it was a good year.
We are not fucking around today. We're here for gold and nothing else. So good. As an instructor, as a student, as a coach, can you explain, like, I guess, how important mentorship is, in those roles, as having been, the student and having been the coach as well?
Okay, let's see if I can break that down somewhat.
I don't know if I answered the question right. I was like, how do I word this?
It's okay. It was multi-part. So, I guess we'll go student side first. So if I'm the student, I think mentorship is extremely important. Like the coach paves the way or the path for the student to follow. Not, whether or not they follow it is up to them. But you're really putting your trust in your coach to be your GPS for your technical advancement, your life advancement, mental, whatever it is you need be. And I think that's a very important relationship to have. If there's any kind of like loss in faith or anything like that, then, you might not be comfortable trying to go down the path, and you might say like, I don't know if I really should do this, or like, I don't think this will actually help me. For me, ever since I stepped into Crazy 8, I think honestly I've had like 100% faith that like all the coaches were going to get me to where I need to be. There's just, first of all, there's like some really sharp minds there, so that doesn't hurt. But then second, like there's just a good consistency, always like a nice positive message to push forward, and everyone is just really helpful. As ironic as it sounds, they're not trying to tear you down. They're trying to help you. Helping you helps them. It's a reflection on them. So yeah, everyone pulls away from that a winner, hopefully. So yeah, coach, student or competitor relationship, very, 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 very important. And I am lucky to have a very good one. in terms of me coaching other people, oh boy. I try to be a nice, I guess, positive influence on them. I would like them to be consistent. I would like them to do this and that. Basically like regurgitating everything that my coach threw at me. Which, you know, I think I've ended up in an okay spot. So hopefully others can copy from that what they will and end up in as good, if not a better spot than me.
Taken from that, you know, I think when I was like, there have been times where like I'll get not yelled at, but like I'll be doing like I remember Julius, he came over to Severna Park. Well, I think it was still Ivy League at the time.
Okay,
and he was filling in, and I was doing something. Well, first off, he questioned like my shrimping. He was like, "Why do you shrimp that way?" I was like, I don't. I mean, this is how I was shown the shrimp, and you know what he explained to me and what he showed me. Actually, I've kind of kept it that way since. You know, it's like, and initially I kind of took it like, man, like yo, I'm like doing what I was taught, man. I'm learning, but it wasn't him, you know, kind of grilling me about one. It was like, you know, understand there are other ways to do this. Like you don't have to just do it this one way. You know, there's as I don't even want to use that saying. Never mind. Oh, I'm gonna just go ahead and stay away from that saying that's harm to animals. But you know, just looking at it, it's like, okay, there are other you know, ways to kind of approach something, and it took a while for my brain to kind of process. It's like, oh, you're helping me, and then during a roll, I think I was passing, but I was passing for my knees, and this was a yell, like he was scolding me. And
that'll happen sometimes.
And again, in the moment, I was like, yo, what the like, son, like, why are you coming at me this way? But then, you know, as the weeks went on, it kind of clicked. It's like, he's not yelling at me. You know, he's
yelling to you.
Yeah. He's like, you know, it's like, okay, he's out there on the mat. You know, you can't just talk. You know, I'm not going to hear him if he's talking at like a regular tone. It's like, you know, you kind of have to like put some bass in your voice. And, you know, as I took that later, I was like, okay, this guy's helping me. He's not like yelling at me. And the way I always compute things is like, if you're yelling, you're angry at me. And it's like, I don't want to talk to you now. But, you know, there have been plenty of times we've crossed paths and like just chit chat. And it's like, oh, like, that's not all that bad. But it's like, oh man, like if I'm in one of his classes and I'm doing something wild, just put the switch on. Yeah, it's like, put the switch on and be prepared, because hey, I'm gonna hear, I'm gonna know when I'm messing up. And as I always say about my grappling game, it's more of a like, I got some parts here, I know some things here, I know some things there. I'm gonna make this all work. But if he sees us like, okay, that's some shit. Like, I don't know what kind of goulash you're cooking, but like, let's get a real recipe. Like, let's like get the cookbook out and follow the instructions on how to make this apple crisp. So,
I mean, I was going to say that sounds, I guess, loosely similar to like a Gordon Ramsay type, where like, you know, you see him yelling and all this stuff, but it's not because he's like personally pissed with you. It's not because he's like trying to critique you as a person. I think it's literally just because of like the passion, the caring, that he's like, hey, like you're like really kind of messing this up. I want you to get better. I want you to fix this. And it's something that I can like tell you right now that we can like just get on it, and then we can like move on to the next thing, and you can just keep getting better. Like, if this is something we can fix easy, then I might yell at you a little bit, but it's out of love.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, like us doing better as the students, you know, it's also better for the coaches as well. So first off, it shows, you know, what you're teaching is working, number one. You know, and number two is like, okay, if it's not working, what do we have to tweak about it? You know, but then also three is like, I mean, it feels good. And, you know, you got your student out there actually kicking ass. It's like, yeah, like, you know, I'm the future. like, you know, I'm the future of coaching. So, I definitely get that. I'm going to go ahead and take you to some would you rather questions real quick.
Okay.
Because I feel like we're getting a little too serious here. And it's like, let's loosen it up a little bit. I know you're a pet guy. You know, got cats. You say you got a dog?
Yeah.
Awesome. I remember being a kid, always seeing like people with a cat and a dog. And, you know, having watched cartoons, it's like, how does that work? Did they
Stereotypes, huh?
like, yeah, it's like, did they chase each other around the house all the time? Or like Heathcliff, like just fighting all the time? It's like, yeah, it's like a horrible stereotype. It's like they're probably best friends, just going for cats and dog walks around the neighborhood.
Oh man, hold up. I've seen that. That's a lie. There's a reason why those Instagram videos have so many views, because it's a lie.
Dude.
Or it's because it's so rare. But I just get super jealous and annoyed.
I spent last night alone, I don't know how long, just on Instagram looking at cat videos.
Oh, 100%.
And the worst thing is I'm allergic to cats. But
That one I can't help you on.
I love them though. I'm like, dude, they're so interesting. And
We literally have it's me, my wife Lindsay, and Vanessa. We have a group chat. Probably about 80% of it is just us sending cat videos into the group chat and or cat memes.
I mean, cats are fascinating. And it's like I could sit there and just with my buddy, he had like what, 3 or 4 kittens.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I would just go over there and watch them. Like they're just like wrestling around. I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what happened to one of them. Like, I'm not going to speculate.
You just said we were supposed to be taking a lighter tone, and you said there was 4 kittens, and then I don't know what happened to one. I don't think he went to the farm
Well,
with that tone.
he went to the farm, but it's not the farm you think. But then as the others start getting older, they start becoming like real like cunty.
Oh, that's sad.
Like, yeah, it's like they were just like mean. I was like, I don't like this. Like, I don't like cats at all anymore. You guys are cool when you're like little kittens. And as they got older, like it was just like like they weren't hissing at me or anything, but it was just like, you know, you come over to like play with them and it was just like, nah, not today, homie. And I was like, come on, son. Like we was friends. But like if I weren't allergic, I would have. Well, my wife keeps saying like we wouldn't have cats. She's like horribly allergic.
You literally cannot have cats in this room. You
Oh.
cannot. They will literally knock 100% of every single one of these figures down within like an hour.
They would not be allowed down here. Like the door would
They're
always.
going to find a way, and
Yeah,
you're going to
that's
come
true.
down, and you're going to be like, "I'm returning this to sender."
The cat would just be like, as soon as it gets down here, it's just gonna look around. It's like, I've been waiting all my life for this.
Yeah.
And just destroy
It's my time.
Everything. Like their figures in cases. They're like, I'll knock that case over.
It's like if I can't get inside, the case is done.
Like, yeah, I think the one behind me might be the safest one, just because of like those DTOS over there. Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Oh, 100%.
That's I'm looking because they're flimsy anyway. Fuck those things. Like they're super flimsy. Cat would just like knock something over into it, but that's okay.
And then even with your shelves, they would probably figure out a way to get on the shelves, and then they would start messing with that, and they can go for your posters. Yeah, this is like the destroy room for cats.
Yeah, this room in itself says you're not allowed to have pets. Period. Whenever my cousins, I think my cousins brought their kids over once, and it wasn't as expensive as it is now. But I had some shelves, and I remember the boy came down here, and his eyes lit up, and he charged for the shelf. And I grabbed him by the back of his collar. It looked like it's straight out of a cartoon. Like feet in the air, kicking. I was like, no, chill, homie. Like, relax. These are not for play. These are not for you. You look with your eyes. And
You got museum rules on it.
yeah. Like, he didn't listen. He still went over, grabbed 3 of them. Was like, you know, it's fine. Just play.
Minimize the damage.
Yeah, just like he's got 3. That's perfect because it's only 3. Like my daughter has always known from an early age when we go to my buddy's house out in Newmarket, his basement is set up in such a way that, like from day one, like she's been around his stuff, and they have a daughter. Like they're just our kids are the same age. All the kids know these are for your eyes, not for your hands. You can look. My daughter's never messed with anything down here. If anything, she comes down here and counts the Spider-Man figures. Like, Dad, you have
That's a lot
37
of counting.
Spider-Man. I was like, girl, get out of my basement. Like, take some Fantastic Four figures. Go count those. Come back in like 4 seconds. I'm done. But no, this is not a pet-friendly room. So, but that's okay. That's okay because it's like I'm not allergic to these action figures. Unfortunately, I'm allergic to cats. Although I'd like to have a dog. My wife's like, no, because I'll be the one taking care of the dog. And I'm like, maybe.
Oh, you're not good at selling this at all.
It's okay. She doesn't listen. She does. Like, but she selectively listens. She'll like, oh, I listened to your episode last week.
That's that dog.
Like, ew. So, no dog? No dog. Well, I'm gonna bring home a cat one day.
That's like bomb. You're gonna bring home a bomb.
Like, I'm allergic, but I'm not allergic in a way where like it's like terrible. Like, I'll power through for some hours. Like, she gets near a cat and she crumbles over. And I was like, oh, you better be nice.
Yeah, my sister's allergic. She just sneezes, and then like normally she sneezes like 8 times in a row. So I'm like, we haven't had our cats like anywhere near her. I think one time I didn't think about it at all, but my niece used her little brush on our little cat.
Oh.
And then we got home, and then my sister said, hey, did you do this? And I was like, yeah, I have a video. She was like, you idiot. And I was like, oh, I am dumb. Oh, but this video is great.
But ain't it cool though? Like, yeah, I guess. We were gonna buy a house, and the previous owner had cats. And the second we walked in the house, my wife she was all fucked up.
Oh, that's like your Chernobyl, huh?
Yeah, I was concerned because so my wife is allergic to pineapples and kiwi, but those are like new allergies for her.
Okay.
So we were going to a Christmas party. She cut up some fruit, for a little platter. She even ate some of the kiwi.
What?
And then the next day, we're driving, or actually no, it was the same day. It was that same morning she did it. She set it all up that morning. We're in the car on our way up there. She's driving, and she was like, "Something's not right." Oh no, something's not right. And like she started wheezing a little bit, and her eyes started bulging. Okay, so this is gonna sound really fucked up, but I trust you. Like trust me, I love my wife. I love my wife. This was before like cell phones were what they are now. I really wanted to get a picture, like for the gram, but
It's okay. It's in hindsight.
yes, like she knows I care. But like we got to our friend's house and we're like, "Do you guys have any Benadryl or anything?" And they're like, "They don't keep any kind of Benadryl." I think they had like children's Benadryl, but
Yeah.
I don't know that. It helped a little bit, but it took some time. So she took one of those, like, where's the nearest hospital? We're in Newmark. They're like, Frederick, about 25 minutes that way. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, all right. So we get to the hospital. The Benadryl started kind of taking hold eventually, like once we got back to the doctor about an hour later. But then it was like, okay, so no kiwis, no pineapples for you. And then the cat allergy got worse. So basically the moral of the story is she needs to buy me more action figures or I will bring home a cat. Because I ain't no punk.
This is biological warfare.
I will deal with those allergies on my own.
It's not even blackmail.
It's like, just give me a figure. I should have told her to give me that Spider-Man figure. Now it did look nice. Like, I'm a little salty. I might go back out to Target later today. But yeah, and I have a peanut allergy now that's brand new. Like, well, not brand new. It was like around 32 it developed.
That one hurts. I love peanut butter.
Dude, I just had a Reese's ice cream cake last night.
Wait, what?
No, it sucks.
What
It's pretty like it's not like
You're treating these allergies like speed limits. Like they're kind of advice that you don't take.
yeah. I mean, so bananas, cashews. I have 3 bags of honey roasted sriracha roasted cashews upstairs.
good.
Dude, they're so good. But around like this is allergy season now, so the pollen started. This is now when I can't have any of that because my mouth itches. My throat doesn't close up or anything, so that's fine. Yeah, like my wife keeps saying, eventually it will. I'm like, we'll keep rolling those dice. But
Okay. I'm allergic to seafood, and every time we like go somewhere that has seafood, my wife hates it. She's like, I don't have an EpiPen. I haven't had an EpiPen in like, I don't know, over 10 years at this point. She's like, you should get one. I'm like, nah, it'll be fine.
right? Like my wife keeps saying, like, you should get an EpiPen. I was like, look, okay, so hear me out on this logic. Okay, most humans are responsible, very responsible. They have EpiPens if they, most. I didn't say all, but most. I am not. I'm the kind of person, if I had an EpiPen, I'm curious. I'm a little dumb. I might fucking empty it out on accident. So if somebody has an EpiPen and I have a reaction, I haven't had one yet. I should be good. Like nothing like life threatening. But hey, does anybody have EpiPen? Stab me in the thigh, rock it out. I'll pay them back, because they're not cheap.
Yeah, hit them with an IOU.
And life continues on, hopefully, as long as I get to the hospital or they get to me. So that's my logic on EpiPens. I will not get one, but someone's going to have one, I hope. And hopefully they're willing to share. That'd be fucked up if I'm like, yo, that dude over there is having a fucking reaction to something. Yo, you got an EpiPen? And it's like, nah, dog, I can't let him use mine.
I was going to say, you might hit up the one guy that's like, so like, how are you gonna pay me back with like Venmo or like a check? Because like, the way my bank account works, and then you're just like, I'm dying. They're like, well, you're talking to me, so like, let's figure out this negotiation first, and then we can see how to like, I guess, save your life or whatever.
Yeah, you might have to just get like the little bracelets so like I have Venmo,
please. It's like, is that a life alert, sir? It's like, this is actually my Venmo.
Just flip it over.
Just
scan.
Yeah, hit this QR code if you're charging me for that.
Like, hit me with the EpiPen. Now go ahead, hit that QR code. There you go. I got you. I owe you. But yeah, we got far away from the would you rather. All right. So, as a pet person, would you rather have 100 duck-sized elephants or one elephant-sized duck?
Oh, I'm going with the tiny elephants. That'd be so cool. I could just have like a little herd of elephants following me around like a little gang.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Like,
I think it'd be like my little entourage. It could be like, this is my herd of elephants.
I'm also thinking too, like a giant duck sounds like a nightmare because
it's super impractical. I don't even know what you do with it.
Yeah, well, ducks are also kind of like, they're horrible humans.
Yeah, I heard they're basically dicks. Yeah. So like that thing would immediately probably try to kill you.
Yeah, fuck that. Let's get some elephants.
Can you imagine like, and like, I mean, not, I don't think I would because it'd be kind of cool, but like you could gift bag that shit. You'd be like, hey man, oh, it's so nice to see you. Here, take one of my tiny elephants. This guy's Dumbo. That
would be actually cool. Giving like pet elephants to people as like gifts.
I mean, I could see like Beyonce and Jay-Z are like, oh, it's Jay's birthday. Here you go. Take one of our little Dumbos on the way out. Like, and you're like, is this real?
Like one of their little parties. They're just like having a little soiree.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, oh yeah, don't forget to grab your elephant on the way out.
Like, they're like, whoa, how am I going to do that? They're like, oh, it's palm size. It's fine.
It's fine. It'll be cool. What do we feed it? I don't fucking know. What do you feed elephants?
I'll give it like one peanut. It'll survive off that shit.
I think it should be fine. It's little. Like, well, that's not true. I had a bunch of little turtles and they all died. Because they're little. I thought, like, I don't have to feed them a whole lot. That's wrong.
You got to feed them.
Well, I did feed them, just not a lot. I fed them, like, a piece of lettuce here and there. And, like, apparently, like, you need to give them more.
You need to give them sustenance to live.
I figured out on my fourth one, Ninja Turtles.
Oh, my God.
On the fourth one, you had to feed them more. And that one lasted longer. But it didn't make it to, because I had these when I was in Delaware. It didn't make it to Maryland.
Are you on, like, EPA's list or something? Like now, they're like, hey, if any man named Dante approaches, do not hand him a turtle.
I just go to Lake Elkhorn and grab one. There was like, we counted like 20 some odd turtles out there sunbathing the other day.
Oh, okay, never mind. You're helping the local population.
Just go scoop some up, put them in a bag, bring them home, and like, now that I know to feed them more, like they should last actually. So, like, I think those are the only pets I'm allowed to have. Like my wife won't even let me have a fish tank.
Really, fish tanks? I feel like are easy enough.
Yeah,
easy enough.
Okay, so one time, it's gonna sound horrible, but my logic, the logic of a 12-year-old.
Oh, it's peak.
Yeah, it made sense. So I had this neighbor named Jeffrey Scott. Yeah, I put the full name out there. Fuck that kid.
Are you gonna tag him?
I looked him up. I can't find him. Ooh, that might be bad. Nah, he wasn't a great human. So Jeffrey Scott used to come down to my house. He had to take naps. Like, that shit was wild. It was like, dude, you 12 and 13 years old, you gotta take a nap. That's wild. And I had Trivial Pursuit, Genus edition, Genus, Genus.
Okay.
And I remember he looked at that. He goes, "Oh, Genius edition. That's perfect for me because I'm a genius." And I was like, "You dumb fuck." So anyhow, Jeff would always go to my fish tank. I had a beta Siamese fighting fish. I had a bunch of penguin fish and a couple goldfish. Now, I had to keep the fighting fish. We had to put a screen, keep it on its own because we didn't know any better. Like, I was a kid, I didn't know shit. My grandfather should have known better. He's a fucking genius. He was like, you should have known this motherfucker was going to attack the others. He didn't like it. Never messed with the penguin fish at all. It only went after the goldfish. And I had an algae eater that was safe as well. Jeff would come over and put his hand in the fish tank and chase the fish around.
Oh, what a dick.
Exactly. He would do this all the time. And this was still unhinged Dante, so I would like hit people, but I would not hit him just because I just felt like
he ain't worth the time.
Yeah, it's like it's not worth the time. So I concocted a new plan. So I go to my grandma and I says, Grandma, can I have a piranha? And my grandfather intervenes and says, well, you can have a piranha, but you have other fish in there, and that may not jive well. So, when the fish eventually die, which I'm 12 years old, and this isn't some shit that's like logic in my mind yet. When he says when they eventually die, I'm like, they're going to die?
You mean go to the farm, Grandpa? The fish farm?
He goes, when they eventually die, we will get you a piranha. So, 12-year-old logic kicks in again. All right. So, it's not going to look natural if I just start fleshing these fish.
Oh, God.
That's not right. But, if you turn the heater up in the tank.
Oh, my God. You made mini fish soup.
Unintentional. Well, it was intentional, but
It was a tragic accident.
It wasn't under the ideal like I'm a horrible human. Jeff's a horrible human. So he kind of made me do this. And then the fucked up part is they never got me my piranha.
Broken promises.
Yeah. I just like, they kind of set the standard for my trust with them. They never bought me the G.I. Joe Mobile Command Center that I asked for. They said it was on layaway. You
got this stuff written down on a list. You're like, I remember this. I remember the date.
People don't forget, Chris. People don't forget. So yeah, I did bring up the piranha thing to my grandma, 3 years ago?
Oh, nice.
It's like, hey, so you guys still owe me a piranha. And she's like, what? And I told her that whole story. It was like, you cooked your fish, though. Like, we're not going to reward you for killing your pets. And I was like, fuck. Like, I hope no one from PETA listens to this.
Oh, dude. PETA, the EPA, everybody's going to get on your ass. They're like, listen, keep this man away from any, like, fish life, water creatures, anything of the sort. He has made fish soup. He has starved turtles. He is an enemy of the sea.
So turtles was completely just, I didn't know any better. I was just really, really fucking dumb. I thought it made sense just to give him some like lettuce, and no, it's you need to go more than lettuce.
Man, you'd have beef with Aquaman.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not worried about Aquaman. Because his name's Aquaman. It's like I just don't really.
You step anywhere close to the water, he might do something at you.
No, what it was like in the new 52 Aquaman. What's is it Mira? Yeah, Mira. Yeah. There's a panel where they're in the bar, and some dude was mouthing off, and she went to work. She goes, "Oh, you're feeling funny, aren't you? A little hard to breathe." She was like basically draining his water from his body. It was like, "Oh my God, you're a monster!" But like, and then Amber Heard played her, so it kind of
matching roles.
It all worked out, so they knew. DC knew. So yeah, basically, if y'all got pets and y'all want somebody to take them, I'm not the one. It's that simple. Would you rather be a kid your whole life or an adult your whole life?
All right. Wait, are we allowed to ask questions on this? I feel like there was some stipulation.
So with would you rather's, it's usually just no. It's just straightforward. But I'll take your question.
What would you define as a kid? Are we talking about like legally? Like I could be like 17 forever? Or are you talking about like I'm an 8-year-old?
I'm gonna take it up to 12.
Oh, and then what's adult? Like am I master's 4 or am I master's 1?
I'm gonna take adult. I'm gonna give you, when's the brain fully like fixed?
I think like 25-ish.
So let's take 25.
Oh, 25, okay. 100%. Oh my God.
Yeah, now I think
that kid's got no options. Yeah. That kid's just like, he doesn't even know who he is.
I feel like 25 is like the right time too. It's like I made some of my worst choices at 25, but if I'm 25 all my life, I'm going to learn. I'm going to figure this out. Like if I'm 12, I mean, I can't even like I don't smoke, but I can't buy a pack of smokes.
Like 12, you can't do anything. The only thing that you have is forever anxiety because puberty is hitting you.
Yeah, it's not even there yet. It's like on its way. It's like, oh man, it's on its way. It's like, sorry kid, you're 12. Like
it's horrible. I mean, like you have no responsibilities, but you're also like, what is life? And you're like, I don't know.
It's like Interview with the Vampire when they turned Claudia, to the little kid vampire. She was a little kid forever. That shit sucked because she eventually figured it out. She's like looking at grown women like, oh, she's got long, pretty hair. She can braid it. Meanwhile, I'm this little 10-year-old vampire with curly hair. I got forever curls. This fucking sucks. I want to straighten my hair out. And
oh, man, you sold it at 25 because 25 is like your peak physically. You usually, I mean, not usually, but I think a fair amount of people at 25 have kind of done a lot of their schooling. They've at least got themselves in a bit of a groove with their job, their life, and everything. So now they have a little bit of freedom to do what they want with their lives. And then at 12, you have anxiety.
It was like, all right, so you're 12 years old. Perfect. I'm so happy.
Yeah, no one looks back fondly and is like, I remember when I was in middle school going through puberty. What good times. They're like, oh God, please just like erase, delete.
Yeah, now that I think about it, when I was 12, that shit sucked.
25, everyone's like, oh man, I was doing this, this, and this.
25 was like the peak. I wouldn't say it was the peak of my party binge years yet. I think,
but a peak nonetheless.
I was peaking. I was on my way up because
you were on the come up.
That was the time where it was like party every night, and I'm not sure how my wife never left me. like we were just talking about St. Patrick's Day one year. Like we got home. She was already home. My buddies and I got home. And don't drink and drive. So we're not condoning drinking and driving, but somehow we made it home.
If you do, my brother-in-law, David Swanetz.
And we got out the car, laid on the front lawn. It is muddy outside. We're like laying in the mud, laughing and giggling. And we call Sarah. And like, we need help. It's just, oh my God, where are you? And you just hear Steve in the background giggling. I was like, we're out front. And she comes outside. We're laying in the mud. She dragged all of our sorry asses into the house. One by
God
one.
Bless her soul.
Yeah. And it was like that moment in itself. She was like, I need to probably call it quits with this guy. Like he's a menace.
Are you? I don't know. You had something in you that said, despite me dragging his ass, this is a creeper.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I appreciate it, and she buys me action figures. So, like, I guess I should probably cook dinner tonight. Like at least something. I don't know. Like I'm not painting a good picture, but I'm not a great artist anyway. Would you rather speak in a baby voice for a day or be spoken to in a baby voice for a day?
Oh God, that's
both sound fucking
I'd rather be
terrible.
spoken that way because like I'm already a tiny diminutive man. Like if I was to speak in a baby voice, I could not be taken seriously in any capacity.
It's like
I'm already having to speak up at people. Like if I have to speak up at people in a baby's voice, I'm essentially a bearded child.
I think both is very nightmarish. It's like I'd
rather them speak it at me because then I could just smack them up a little bit and say, what are you doing at me right now?
Like, and also too, I could just avoid people all day.
Oh,
If it's just for a
100%
day,
too.
I'll just avoid everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, just take a little me time and you're like, all right, when's baby voice done? And it's over.
Would you rather get $1 every time you compliment a stranger or $100 every time you insult a stranger?
I mean, well, okay. Oh, they're strangers. I mean, does it have to be like to their face? Is it me going like, hey, I'm about to earn $100?
So I'm gonna say it has to be to them, but I think, dude, there's a strategy to this. I got this covered. I got you.
I mean, so here's the thing. I usually, I'm a very safe, stable kind of like not trying to take any risky gambles, I would definitely probably, if there's no, like, if we're going with the stipulations now, because there's like no rules here, I could definitely just cheat and be like, hey man, I'm about to insult the mess out of you, but I'm gonna get $100. I'll give you $30.
Oh,
and then they might be like, all right, talk about me, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's start talking.
I like that logic. That's a lot more diplomatic than where I was going, because I was just gonna.
That's like, come here, brother. Let me talk about you for a quick sec.
I was gonna go, like, to a preschool and just start insulting little kids.
Oh, that's a good idea too.
And they don't know any better.
Oh yeah, you can literally go right above their heads. That works. That's a good loophole. I like that actually.
You can, like, talk to them in a baby voice. It'll be fine. Like, they won't even get it. They'll just be like, oh, that's pretty funny.
No, I like that loophole actually, because then I'll keep more of the money, and I could even just be like, I'll give you a whole $1, and they'll be like, oh my god, a whole $1. Yeah. And I'll be like, yeah, that's a lot of money. You best not spend it in one place.
As a matter of fact, you say to them, I'll give you $1 for every compliment you give me.
Try to double my bets.
And then, like, as they say something nice to you, you say something horrible to them. You get 100 and then give them one. Oh my god, dude, get money.
I'll just go through a whole class.
Yeah, like I'm gonna have.
I'm sure the teacher would be fine with it. You'd be like, listen, I'll give you 10% of the cut. And they'll be like, oh, man, hold up. Let me contact my friend.
It's like, first off, you're a teacher. I know you're not making a lot, so I got you covered, lady.
We'll call this a bonus.
Like, we got you. We got you. Would you rather smell like garlic or a wet dog?
I guess garlic. I mean, they're both not great. I think garlic, and then I would probably either isolate myself or I would just tell people, like, man, I was just in the kitchen cooking garlic.
True.
Just straight up garlic for some reason. It was just garlic day.
Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not really crazy about garlic. I think I am, but I'm not. Like, my neighbor, they got burritos up the street one day. And they're like, you want a burrito? I was like, yeah. And I'm the kind of guy, I'm a picky eater, but at the same time, like, if you're giving me free food, I'll figure my life out. So they come back with these burritos. So they got me like, well, I don't know what made them think to give me a shrimp burrito. That just
random.
Yeah, super random, right? Because they got, like, I think the husband, he got like a beef burrito and some.
Yeah, that's like standard.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, and then the wife got like a beef. What did she have? Like garlic and some wild shit. It was wild. And they bring me the shrimp one. And I didn't complain, but my wife goes, "You don't even like shrimp." And I was like, "Yeah, but I mean, I was going to figure my life out because that's what I do. You give me food, I'll figure it out." And then the wife gives me her burrito. And I'm eating the burrito. And I was like, oh my God. Like, I was like, who the fuck? Give me the shrimp one back. Who eats this much garlic? Like, I mean, I ate it. I powered through. Like, because again, it's free. Like, I'm not going to turn away food.
100%.
But I was just like, oh my God. Like, this is a nightmare. And then since then, I've just been kind of like, man, fuck garlic. Like, garlic don't taste or smell good.
Oh man, you got overpowered by it though.
Yeah,
it's the the thing where the kids eat too much candy and then they throw up and they're like, I swear I'm never gonna have candy again. And then the next day they're like, I could use some candy.
Those kids are pussies. Like, I ate a whole bag of jelly beans the other day. Like a whole bag of Starburst jelly beans.
Oh no. Candy's fine, but garlic is your candy.
Oh yeah, it is. Like, I had all that garlic. I was just like, never again. Then my wife like made spaghetti with some garlic bread. I was like,
You said, how dare you?
I'll be all right. It was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and go upstream and get McDonald's. Like, I don't even want McDonald's. This shit is like, ugh. But I'll take my chances. Would you rather give up showering or the internet for a month?
Oh man!
Wait, so would you rather give a shower? So I guess showering altogether.
I mean,
internet just for a month. I mean, it's just a month.
So like, yeah. I mean, I guess it would have to be the internet because, like, literally, logistically, I cannot not shower for an entire month. I would become staff. I would be the staff. Well, actually, no. I would probably get kicked out of training probably on like the second or third. No, maybe not even the second practice. They would be like, "Dude, you smell like shit," and I'd be like, "I do."
Like, you're right, I do.
It was me, and then I would be out of internet and practice and showering. That would be awful. Oh wait, no. I would have. Oh no, I wouldn't have anything. I would be out of No, I would have the internet. I guess
So,
that
yeah.
would make up, but that'd be kind of like, oh, I'm in isolation because no one can stand my smell.
Yeah, it's like it's a weird isolation on both of them because I'm gonna assume the shower is for a month. I think they're both for a month.
I mean, that's still awful. I mean, even
So-
a week is bad.
But it's like if you give up showering, yeah, you're isolated for that period because nobody wants to be around you because you smell like shit. But if you go off the internet, you're kind of weirdly digitally isolated
A little
because But that might actually be good though.
I mean, yeah, a little decompression.
Yeah.
And then also my wife, she has like super sharp smelling. So in addition with that shower, I would probably not be in the house. I would probably be forced to get a hotel room miles and miles and miles away so that she could not even like sense me in any capacity.
So note to everybody: wash your ass, plain and simple.
That's a good general note. Not just specifically for now.
Like just always wash your ass. Like don't fuck around with the internet. Take a shower. That's words lived by. Would you rather be a baby with the mind of an adult or an adult with the mind of a baby? That's fucked.
Oh God. I mean, I think I've heard of this one. I think technically, I guess I'd rather be like the adult with a baby mind because at least you're being a baby. You're doing whatever, and just in an adult body. But like, if you were conscious of everything as a baby, that would be so like fucked. You couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah.
You'd just be like, oh God, I just crapped my diaper. And then you'd be like, well, I'm going to cry because I can't change it. And oh, mom's taking a nap. I cannot change my diaper. I'm stuck.
As a baby, well, yeah, because I don't know because as a baby, there's stages of baby. Like, am I a baby that can crawl? Because I'll just go wake her up like, hey, yo, Rita, yo, you need to change.
But hold up. But can this baby talk?
Wait a minute. Well, if you have the mind of an adult, though, why are you shitting yourself? You shouldn't shit yourself.
No. But isn't it? Wouldn't it? Oh man, I don't know. I guess I don't know much about babies. If it's like, it can't be like a conscious effort that they're like, it's shitting time. Let's go.
I think we know when we're gonna shit though. like as an adult, it's like, oh man,
That is true, but
shit.
like,
So I think,
but you physically wouldn't be able to like stop it to make someone aware of like it's going down. Red flag.
like maybe I don't know. I'm not sure how. I don't know how that works with babies. Like I just thought it was like oh, you're about to shit because when you potty train your kid, like hey, you're about to shit, go in there.
I guess it'd be like akin to like knowing how to do something or like being aware of something versus being able to physically actually do it. Like, I mean, yeah, we can tag it back to jiu-jitsu. Like, you can watch a move and you can be like, oh, all of those moves, they 100% make sense. Like, I understand why his body's moving in that way. And then when you do it, you're like, this makes no sense. That was all garbage. I understood absolutely none of that. This man is a lie.
I don't know, man. I think as a baby, if you're aware, you're probably not going to shit in that diaper. I think.
But then, like, I would have to hold it until I'm like, mother, please attend to me.
But if you can, like, army crawl to the toilet, but the toilet's going to be too high.
It's going to be high. I don't know if I'm going to be able to take off the diaper. Like,
Yeah, that's
a lot of logistics getting.
Because as a baby, even though you have the mind of an adult, you got like baby hands, so you can't really do much with baby hands other than like
coordination.
Drool. Like, oh man, babies suck.
And if like if you're getting fed something, you don't like it. You're like, I don't like this, but then you can't say anything. You're just like, I'm dying.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like again, if you got the mind of an adult, though, you're conscious enough to be able to talk. Like, hey man, those fucking mixed vegetables, this is fucking trash, man. I'm not eating that shit. Those mashed bananas, fuck all the way off. Oh, the baby food meat? No. Just give me a boob. Like, you know what I want to eat.
I mean, if you can talk, if you can communicate, if you can kind of structure yourself to be able to do what you need to do, maybe you could be an adult in a baby's body, because then you're going to be like, oh, it's only going up from here. I'm only going to grow up. I'm only going to be able to do more and more stuff, and I'm a baby, so I can just like do all the things that I didn't do when I should have.
I forgot about the concept of actually growing up. I just thought you were a baby forever. Damn.
Oh, if you're a baby forever.
I misread that. Yeah, if you're a baby forever, fuck all that noise. Like,
I don't know if I could do that forever. I'd be like, oh my God.
Because I mean, yeah, if you're a baby and you're gonna grow, then that's fine. But if you're an adult and you got the mind of a baby, I mean,
essentially, you're just like in the ethos, just floating around. You're like, I am a baby, but I'm in an adult like vessel. This does nothing.
like, that's a weird question. Fuck that one. All right, let's get one more out of here. Let's see. Would you rather have horns or a tail?
You say horns
Yeah.
or like okay.
I was thinking like horns, like blowing horns. Like what the? Like that's the way I read it at first. I was like, yo, that is tail. Okay, horns and the tail. Now I get it. It's not like trumpets. Like
I think I'd rather go horns. I think that would be way cooler, way more useful. I mean, like I could still like wear all my clothes and such. Like a tail, I'm gonna have to get everything tailored. Like it ain't gonna fit in my pants.
yeah, I think a tail, and I don't know because I don't have a tail, but I feel like a tail just kind of like moves around and shit. Like, do you control that? Like, because I mean, you see the basement. I can't just be walking around with a tail knocking action
Oh my
figures
god,
over.
you spin, you're gonna knock down a shelf.
No, that's a nightmare. But horns, on the other hand, horns, like, if someone's talking some shit,
Yeah.
oh, you getting the horns, son. Like it's on. Like I'm charging people.
Oh,
my
100%.
God. Oh, that's so useful. Let me actually I just saw one last one here. I say that one was the last one. This is the last one. Would you rather wrestle a gorilla or two alligators?
Oh god. Oh man. I guess the alligators, because if I wrestle a gorilla, it's over. It's over.
I think you've wrestled alligators. It's probably over too. They eat people.
There's a way higher chance because like it's a gorilla that knows he's wrestling me, so he's gonna be like,
True.
he's like, oh, I must kill this child. Versus the alligators, I might be able to just like stun him or something and say, guys, I'm out,
Pop
and
him
like
in the
run
hand.
away. But a gorilla is not gonna be like, of course this gentleman must leave. I should leave him in peace.
I think there's like some calming technique for the alligator too. Like you can
Yeah,
get
we're making
them,
a
like,
stronger
chill.
argument for that then.
So yeah, let's go fuck them alligators up, man. And there's two of them. You know, just chill one out, and then you chill the other one out, and then I think
I
you
just
win.
like, from what I can remember, I don't think like a gorilla is what, like 400 pounds at least.
Like, at least.
So like, I don't know how big alligators are. I was thinking alligators would be like at max 200. So like, if you put two of them, that's still like two separate 200-pound bodies versus one massive chunk of like dense animal muscle that is a gorilla.
I'm
I'm
also
gonna be like proven wrong, and like alligators are actually like half a ton, and I'm
no
like,
alligators are big creatures. They're
I know
like,
they can be like super long,
yeah.
but if they're light enough, I could try and swim out of there maybe.
Like I feel like they can get as long as this room. Like
Oh
this
yeah,
way.
yeah.
But then the weight is where it gets tricky. But I still think, I mean, you know, they eat everything. So
We're not. I mean, honestly, if we're faced with this situation, something is not going well in our life in general.
yeah, if you end up in any kind of scenario where you have to wrestle a gorilla or an alligator, you made choices earlier that day that probably the average male alligator is 500 pounds.
Oh no!
That's fucked.
Hold on. All right.
And the average female is 200 pounds.
All right.
So-
Hold on. So if we go back to that, I might have to switch to the gorilla, and I could try to convince the gorilla that I am just a baby ape, perhaps, and it would actually take care of me.
True. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Average male alligator is anywhere from 10 to 15 feet long. And anywhere from 5 to 600 pounds.
My God,
Wow. Okay. So,
alligators ain't nothing to fuck with.
yeah, fuck alligators. That's why I'm not going to Florida. I'm fucking around. My family like,
I feel like there's a lot more reasons not to go to Florida.
yeah, there's a lot of them, but those alligators, they're high on that list. My wife's like, let's go to Disney World. I was like, well, I got Disney Plus. I don't got to rush. I'm like, what we
You're
doing?
gonna take a virtual tour. You're like, we got Disney at home.
Well, I follow Disney on TikTok. Like there's someone at Disney, and they just walk around with their phone and live stream being at Disney.
Oh, so you do have Disney at home.
So,
You're
yeah.
like, here, take this iPad. We got Disney at home. It's the same thing.
And I'd let my daughter watch it. Sometimes like, here, shut the hell up. Like,
Oh, which room do you want to see? All right, let me scroll to that real
Go
quick.
to Epcot. Here, there you go. Like, go to Epcot. Oh, cool. What are they doing? I don't know.
It's like, oh, he's waiting in a line.
He's waiting. Is he gonna get on the teacups?
No.
Yeah. He's gonna sit there and let it spin around. You can watch it. It's fucking weird. But no plans for those are the plans for us. But as we get closer, I'm just gonna change it. Like, yo, we can go this place. Like, you need a passport for that. Yeah, but I don't want to.
Well, I mean, there's not gonna be alligators in Disney World, are there?
There could be. That there have been stories. I don't want to be part of those stories.
Yeah, I have heard.
And I do dumb things. And when I say I do dumb things, like, I don't pay attention to half the shit I'm doing. So I know I'm high on the alligator eat list because I'm going to not be paying attention to what I'm doing, and I will step somewhere and get chomped. And I just don't see any winning scenario for me in that situation. So I don't fuck with alligators.
Part of Disneyland. you gotta weigh the experience. You gotta be like, man, this is so my leg.
I mean, maybe it's like, I guess as the alligators eat me, I'm like, well, at least I got to see Disney World, like, on my way out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, that's some shit my kid will say. Like, I got to Disney. Is like,
he said thanks. Yeah, that's what I was aiming for, honestly.
Like, you're 7. There's so much more. Like, I'm like in my 40s. Like there's so much more, and alligator's not a part of that. So much more.
Oh yeah, you get to see an alligator up close and live. Like, oh my god, there's not many people that get to experience that.
Like, well, alligator hunters, like, people who make belts.
But how many people get to see the teeth? How many people get to feel the teeth?
Dude, I want to go on the internet and buy like a necklace with alligator teeth, but then it's like, are they really alligator teeth? Because I would be excited to have
I got
that.
no idea.
Because that's kind of twisted and morbid to want, but I really hate alligators.
I mean, essentially, that's showing them trophies of their cousins and such. You're like, hey, this is what is left of your cousin.
Yeah,
this could be you.
That's what I do when I kill like spiders in the house. Well, it's like, you gonna clean it up? I was like, no, I'm leaving that there so the others know not to fuck with me. Like,
it's the what's it called? It's the head on the spike. So you're like, let them know.
It's like, oh my god, there's Lance. Not anymore. That's parts of Lance. The other parts of them are on the bottom of my shoe. So, fuck those spiders. Like, down here, like, we run into like house centipedes. And my wife's like, oh, they eat other bugs. I'm like, well, don't spiders eat other bugs? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, we don't need 2 of them.
So we can only handle one enemy at a time.
Yeah, like one or the other. I think the house centipedes, they blend in with this carpet. So,
I didn't know.
Like, I don't, like, she was like, they're harmless. Probably. But they crawl. And they got like a bunch of legs. And I don't fuck with that. And then they saw a snake outside the other day.
Wow, in this way, that's crazy.
So now I'm like, one of my fears, and I didn't realize this was a fear until the other day, is a snake in my toilet.
Oh.
That is an overwhelming fear now. So every time I come down here to go to the bathroom, I kick the seat up kind of from a distance because I just fear, but I got to pee really bad. I'm like, you're doing like the pee dance, and you flip the seat up and you whip it out, and then a snake comes up, and it's like, could I at least piss, dude?
So here's the thing though, like, not to like jinx you on that, but it almost seems like you half wish that a snake does appear in your toilet so that you feel vindicated about it, because then you're like, I did this and it was real. So
that is partially true though, because there are times when, like, I say some shit and people are like, that's not real. That will never happen. And then when it does happen, I can say, don't ever fucking doubt me again.
Yeah, you say, well, guess what? It just did.
So now I don't want that snake to get me though. So I want the snake to show up on a Friday night when we're doing our Colompton Beer Club episodes. And when one of the other hosts are in there, just let that shit happen to know. It's all
like,
right.
Hey, go check that toilet just cause.
Like y'all earned it. Like, I don't fuck with basements. Basements are inherently creepy to me anyway. Like,
yeah, it gets darker underground. Everything somehow gets like a little more evil, a little more sinister.
That's why, like, I have to have the TV on, because if the TV's not on, I feel like it's like, nah, something's
like a trap little dungeon or something.
Yeah, it's like a weird, like, if the TV's on, there's like activities. Like, okay, ghosts don't fuck around with TVs. Like, I mean, of course, maybe you haven't seen Poltergeist. Maybe.
I haven't watched enough horror, so if you're telling me this is the guide, just leave a TV on.
I mean, that's what I do. I go to sleep with the TV on. Usually the horror movies on that TV when I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, but that sounds like a terrible, terrible recipe. That seems like an invitation. You're like, hey, listen, you guys are welcome because I got your boys on my screen. You guys, the more the merrier.
Well, there's some, because, TikTok, everything on TikTok is true. There's some shit I was reading, and, it's like one of my horror accounts, like, ways, like, don't do these things if you don't want to invite a spirit into your home or some bullshit like that. So I'm reading, I was like, oh my God, I don't do any of those things. Mind you, it's like 2 a.m. It's like pitch black in my room, and I was just like, ugh,
Nice, good
fuck.
setting.
So then I gotta turn like shit back on. And it was like, all right, I guess I'll go to sleep at 4 now. Like, I gotta calm myself down. Or like break-in video, like home invasion videos.
No, that one's super actually scary because that one can definitely. I think that one's a little more likely than a spirit coming through.
Yes, I agree. Well, if you ask my wife, she's like, no, this house isn't haunted. Then why that cabinet keep opening up by itself? It's like, oh,
It's just a cabinet spirit.
like, yeah, they the ghost just keeps forgetting to fucking close the medicine cabinet, and there ain't nothing in there. Probably, ghost toothpaste. I don't know. But like home invasion horror scares me the most because it's some shit
Every
that
creak is something.
it could happen. So when I'm looking at those videos on TikTok, I go downstairs. It never fails. Check the windows. Make sure, like,
Oh no, yeah. You check the windows, you check the door, you check you start checking around the corner of your own house, and you're like, there was a creak. Someone is in here.
So my neighbors are loud. They're night owls, and they move up and down. And they have dogs that run up and down the stairs. So I'll be sitting in my room and I'll hear footsteps, and I'm like, okay. I assume it's the neighbors at 12:30 a.m.
Okay, yeah, that one's not too bad.
But and it settles down about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
After 1, I don't hear anything, so I know it's the neighbors. But every so often, it fucks with me because I don't fuck with attics either, and we haven't been in that attic since God knows when.
I mean, attics are just higher basements.
Yeah, basically, and like at least down here, it's like we have lights up there. I think the attic light is attached to our bedroom light, so in order to turn on the light in the attic, the bedroom light has to be on.
Okay.
And it's super fucking weird. I'm just like, you know what? God, fuck all these things, yo. Like, quit being creepy. Why do we have creepy shit? It's like, the Blair Witch. Like, it's not real, but watching that movie kind of convinces you otherwise. Like, oh, in Maryland? Oh, yay.
Just plants the seed just enough that you're like, man, if there's even a 1% chance.
And that's all it takes. If it's not zero, and this coming from a dude that I watch horror movies on the regular. Like I watch that shit like it's
that one I don't know. I feel like at first it was an attempt at like immersive therapy, but then you went the other way and you're like, no, this shit could happen.
Yeah, well, I mean, the only things that really fuck with me when it comes to the horror movies is home invasion. All the other shit's just like, oh, that's silly. But home invasion is like, fuck that. Home in what? No, nope. Like, especially when you watch a movie, and someone lives out in the woods by themselves. Like, no one nearby. They just live by themselves in the woods.
Yeah.
It's like,
It always happens.
What could go wrong?
Nothing. Never.
And then all of a sudden, let's not forget she's deaf. This person is deaf also. And she lives in the woods by herself. This is actually a movie called Hush. It's fucking bonkers.
Oh, God.
But either way, it's one of my favorites, though. I love it.
Oh, Lord.
Like, I watch it at least every other month. That and The Strangers. Because The Strangers, like, they tried to sell you at the beginning. This is based on a true story. It's not. It's not based on it. But all my friends kept trying to tell me, no, it's based on real stuff.
Sounds like that might be manifesting. Like someone's got to make this into a real story. It's like, wait, what?
The thing about that movie, I think the scariest part about the movie is that, like, when it opens, you see a couple and they're going to a cabin, and they seem very just not happy, and they start doing kind of flashbacks of what happened over the night, and it turns out he proposed to her and she said no.
Oh, that's awkward.
And now they got to go back to this cabin. I was like, dude, that's the fucking nightmare of the movie. Like, she said no, and now y'all have this cabin booked that, it's like, well, what do we do now? Like, well, let's go to this cabin. Oh, and by the way, 3 crazy people are just going to knock on the door at 2 a.m. and say, hey, is Tamara here? And chaos ensues. So, yeah, that's pretty much my rant on horror movies and home invasions. But, yeah, I think we're good. So, Chris, thank you for doing this. Before we get out of here, do you have any shout-outs or mentions that you'd like to throw out there for us?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I think I got the whole podcast experience. This is really a very cool setup, and I got to see. I don't remember if you actually put a label to it. The Dante Cave, the Wiki Lair.
I don't know what the fuck this is.
But yeah, very cool setup. Hearing you describe it is one thing, but then obviously seeing it is very, very cool.
Well, thank you.
But yeah, and then obviously big shout out to everybody at 88. That's essentially why I'm here right now. And then also shout out to my sponsor Gaidama. They've sent me a whole bunch of gear. It's really, really nice. They're coming up, and I'm very excited to work with them.
Awesome. I'll be sure to put them in the notes. And I've been seeing them pop up a lot more on my feed. I think my phone maybe heard you say it once, and then my phone's like, we got you covered. And now I'm just like, okay.
Don't worry, Dante. We heard about this from someone.
There was something that was said the other day, and now I keep seeing commercials on
that's the
Prime.
future. Yeah.
So,
Someone's going to say something in the background. It's going to be real wild, though. Like, they're going to start, I feel like they're going to start planting shit. It's going to be like, assassinate the president. And you're going to be like, hey, why is this popping up in my phone?
It was Arby's. We had mentioned Arby's.
Okay, that one's not as scary.
And
I mean, that's
right.
actually kind of scary a little bit.
Yeah,
It's Arby's.
I don't fuck with Arby's.
I've literally heard that no one does. That's actually the scary part to me, that they're still in business. But I've never heard anyone say, like, you know what, we need Arby's.
I see people every time I see. First off, Arby's are only really located around truck stops. That's already a red flag. And then second, the people that I see in Arby's definitely look like they've kidnapped some people. So I'm just like, I don't know if I'm at Arby's. But after we talked about that, I kept getting Arby's commercials on my TV.
You're about to get a lot more.
Yeah, like Arby's is like, yo, we gonna sell it to this dude. I'm like, fuck y'all. But either way, note to everybody, don't eat at Arby's. Fucking food is gross.
Jesus.
No, it's just terrible. I want to give a big shout out to my friends over there at Nerd Rage Radio: Bobby, Chris, Joe, Maryland Phil, Ricky Ticky, Chucky O. Who else? There's so many of y'all, but shout out to them. Without Nerd Rage Radio, I would not have started podcasting. So if y'all really, really, dig this show, thank them. If you don't dig it, then why are you listening this far? That's a legit question. But thank you all the same to Nerd Rage Radio. I also want to give a shout out to my other podcast, So You Like Horror. As you may have just heard, I watch horror movies all the time. I go to sleep to them. It's kind of creepy, a little bit weird. I have trauma. It's fine. That's how I work through it. But also, if you like scary movies and hearing about the history of certain things, like, the decades of different, or the decades of horror, for instance, or even cursed films, because that's what we're working on now. This year's theme is cursed films. So if you know about movies that have like a supposed curse behind it, like The Omen or Poltergeist or The Crow or The Serpent in the Rainbow, The Exorcist, things like that, we're going to be addressing those things in some of the episodes. And those episodes will be strictly talking about the curse, not like the movie itself. We're not doing like a full breakdown of, The Omen or The Exorcist. We've done that already. But if you're into that kind of stuff, go check it out. So You Like Horror on Instagram. You can find it there. All the words separated by underscores. So yeah. And last but not least, I want to give a big shout out to my guest here, Chris Tran, black belt over at Crazy 88 MMA. That's where we train at. So thank you again to Chris, and thank you to everybody over at 88. Like I told Mark, I was like, I'm gonna be recording with Chris tomorrow. He was like, I'm surprised you haven't recorded with him yet. I was like, well, you have to keep in mind though too, a lot of this I wasn't telling people I was doing a podcast. I was very, very quiet about it. and I was not in the best like headspace to like talk to teammates and coaches like, hey, you guys want to be on my podcast? So now I've started opening. I was like, hey, you know, because I've had some people say, hey, I listened to your podcast the other day. I was like, oh shit, you know, like, don't do that. That's a terrible idea. But you know, I've had positive, you know, interactions about it with people, you know, over 88. So that made me feel like, you know what? Now I feel more comfortable reaching out to people and saying, hey, I want you to come on. Let's talk about jiu-jitsu. Let's talk about like ducks and elephants. Let's talk about action figures and comic books, you know, whatever it may be. But thank you for making the time, and thank you to the team just for being supportive. So I appreciate all of y'all. And as always, I love you guys. Y'all got any questions, concerns, criticisms, reach out. You can find me bjj.wiki on Instagram or Off the Mats Podcast, also on Instagram, or you can email me. But besides that, thanks. You guys keep listening, and we're going to definitely keep making these shows. Thank you, everybody, and ciao.
They were with it. Now let me sing a song.